Tonight's tactical enhancement is premium malt. Warhammer, the old world, 2,000 points worth of biff, and tonight I'm going to try and figure out how to make the dwarves work better against Sean's Orcs and Goblins and Giants, which is not quite as horrifically intimidating as the last bunch of Orcs and Goblins he brought along. Sean, talk us through what you got.
We've got 2 units of 35 Goblin Spirits with shields and a full command. I've got...
yes, those.
Those are the ones, these ones, just some old school metal ones I picked up in 86 or 87.
Oh, good lord.
Regular Orcs, big uns with full command. Got a magical banner that gives them better weapon skill as well. I've got a big uns boar boys, 2 orc chariots, and ma and pa giants.
Right, and who are your characters today?
Well, I've got a regular orc, no black orcs today, just a regular orc war boss, a BSB, and somewhere is just a 4th level shaman.
Yeah, okay.
So it's all metal. Well, 90% is metal. You got about 100 figures you got to kill. You got some.
Well, if they run away, that'll do.
Yeah, you got some. Yeah, this should be good actually. I reckon this will be a good match.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I don't know why nobody just takes normal orcs. It's always big uns or.
You can take normal orcs. Yeah, you can get away. If you want, I can take normal orcs next time, and we'll see how that
I'm
goes.
curious as to how they actually work. I can't remember the last time I saw normal orcs. Anyway, up against that, I have 3 units of 23 dwarf with shield and full command. 2 units of 10 iron breakers with no command. We got a flying rubber dinghy, 3 cannon.
3 cannons.
3 cannon and an organ gun. And we got a drunk dude to lead the army, a drunk dude to bang runes and shit, an engineer, and the standard bearer who I've just repaired because this banner came off for the first time in like 20 years the other day, and I'm frankly amazed it stayed there that long. He's the designated beer stein holder. Can't really tell in this lighting, but that's his job. And that's it. I think I took a Lord for the runesmith because they're actually a bit better in a fight, and they get I think it's minus a +2.
It makes you a level 2.
Yeah, it makes them level 2 for the dispels, and the other guys are just regular thanes, and that's it. So what we'll do now is we'll roll up for a table edge and we'll deploy, and we'll check in after that. Right, time to have a look at deployment. Sean won the roll-off on a 2. So I put something down first, and in response, this is actually the last thing he put down. That's the boar boys with standard bearer. And what do we got here? Biggins, chariot, gobos, husband and wife, gobos, chariot. And on the dwarf side, we've got a couple of cannon holding the flank up there. Regular chaps with they've got their general in there who's a thane, and some iron breakers in front, a couple more cannons, one of which is entrenched. This thing was actually made to put handgunners behind, but it's the only entrenching thing I've got at the moment. Oh yeah, and the engineers with this mob. Another 23 with standard bearer. There he is. And 10 iron breakers in front, and 23 over here with the runesmith and the chopper. I don't know, trying to do something.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he'll do just yet, but he'll hopefully make himself useful. On that note, it's time to see who gets first turn. I'll get a +1 because my stuff went down first.
Yeah.
I think. One on the fucking needle, that dice roll. Hey, look! I won! Well,
There you go. Off you go.
on that note, we'll check in at the end of Dwarf turn 1.
Very good, sir.
Righto, so we got the first blat, and it was rather underwhelming. Had one cannon, the only reason it didn't blow up is because the engineer stopped it. Then what we do, we took 3 wounds off of that chariot over there, and we knocked a few orcs off of that unit as the ball went through. The next cannon, one cannon overshot that one. Yes. Another cannon undershot then stuck in the ground and killed a grand total of 1 goblin. And then the organ gun didn't roll many shots, and I couldn't re-roll anything because the engineer was otherwise occupied. And then we completely failed to fucking hit anything anyway. So I'm rather glad that I sat back to let them come to me, because, I mean, I do want to get into the thick of it, but
Sure you do. Yeah.
I want the cannons to actually fucking do something for a change
Dwarfs
first.
hide in the back of the board. Don't hurt me, goblins. Oh!
Well, you know, under the last rules, I'd go running forward with the Death Star, but no, it doesn't work anymore. I've got to figure out how to do this shit all over again. On that note, over to Gobbo's turn 2.
Goblin's turn. Okay.
Orcs and Goblins and Giants turn 1. Let's see what happened. They came barreling forward, as I've said in multiple battles now. They're coming right for us. Well, they fucking do that a lot. Except the Giants, who manoeuvred to try and make it hard for me to hit the ground.
Yes, that is the idea.
For my cannonballs, to get range exactly where I wanted. And he's positioned them so I can't put a cannonball through both, although that wouldn't happen anyway under the new rules. But I suppose if you overshot, it makes it a bit easier.
Yes.
Put oak and shield on that lot. That's why they got a piece of paper on their heads.
5 upward.
That's right, and I couldn't dispel that. And these ones moved up at the double, and they were in column. So they did a triple move, and then he used the movement spell to move them again. They used that to redress the ranks and move forward a little bit. Now he actually rolled double 1 to cast. And what do you need to cast this spell? What's the casting value?
The casting value is only 10. So I need a 5 with the orc guy because he got +1 at the 4th level.
Actually, I don't think you cast that successfully.
No. Remember the spell the miscast said it successfully cast the spell.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing with the
That's
miscast.
interesting. So he actually rolled below, but the miscast made it go off anyway.
Yes.
Interestingly, I did roll to dispel that, but then we found out I was like 25 inches away
You can
instead
only
of
do
24.
1 wizardly dispel per turn. You've already tried that one.
No, I didn't do a wizardly dispel.
You're outside 24 inches.
Well, it would have had to have been. I just didn't realise
Yeah,
it
you would
was.
have had to be. You didn't realise.
Yeah, well, I didn't know the fucking rules then, did I? Anyway, but the point is he reshuffled a bit and got his flanks off. So he's using strategy and tactics.
Like charge forward.
Cleverly? Charge forward cleverly.
I don't know about that. Well, this is going to be very interesting. You've got 3 bloody cannons.
Well, I fucking need him against this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Although, admittedly, I think for the cost of those cannon...
I'm glad I didn't take a wyvern tonight. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, look, we could do an army where I promise not to take any cannon, and you don't take any shooting, and no monsters, like dragons, and we see what happens. Although I suspect it'd be a bit...
Do you know what I like about these rules is that 3 cannons would have been pretty over the top in the previous edition.
Yeah.
Whereas in this edition, I actually don't mind.
You know,
I think it's quite fair and reasonable.
In the last edition, in a 2,500 point game, I would usually only take 3 cannon for the dwarfs because I thought more was getting cheesy as fuck.
Yes.
So, and I take a lot more rank and file, but yeah. Anyway, but we're playing the old world now, and it's time for me to shoot more fucking cannons at you, I think.
Yes, shut up and shoot some cannons at me, okay? Get on with it. Move forward. Get to within spell to spell range.
Right. It should have been a turn of shooting, and it was more of a turn of manoeuvre. First thing I did was turn these guys around slightly on the wheel in order to make sure that these guys charge the face of something instead of getting in, like... Because I know Sean, he'll go through the fucking trees to try and get me in the flank.
Right.
With a movement banner. I've angled these guys and these guys, so that chariot has to go into the face of something and not into the flank. And the infantry and everything else is too far away to hit me this turn. I move these guys up to get a bit of movement space to fall back and so on, because they're probably going to fall back when they get clobbered by that. Now as for the guns, that one misfired. This one,
I'm so sad.
I think, overshot. This one, no, actually, this one worked. He took 3 wounds off of that. This one overshot, I think. No, he didn't overshoot. He hit. Then he rolled a 1 to wound that. And that's all. I only needed 1 to kill that damn thing. Then the organ gun actually did all right and bumped off 4 wounds and killed 3 out of these. And then the gyrocopter had a blast and killed some more, remarkably. Not sure how many, but there's 4 dead out of that unit entirely. I think the gyro collected 1 with a spray of shrapnel into the back of those guys. They failed their first panic test. We had to look up to make sure a standard bearer actually lets you re-roll panic tests, and they do, and it succeeded. So they're only barely there, but they're nowhere near as dangerous as they used to be. And on that note, it's over to Orcs and Goblins. Turn 2. End of Orcs and Goblins turn 2. Now, this slot went gallivanting through here, through the terrain, ready to get a flank charge. What a surprise. The movement spell was put on these guys along with Oak and Shield, and I totally failed to dispel anything much. So only 2 he's used so far. He's got 2 more that I haven't seen yet. And then there was a whole lot of manoeuvre. This slot decided to manoeuvre past the decoy unit in front of him in order to clean up a cannon, presumably next turn. And the other one failed to restrain because they've got the what's that rule?
Impetuous.
Yeah, they've got impetuous. So they charged into these guys.
Yes, which is fine.
They nailed 1, and then the rest of them knocked the last wound off.
Yes.
And the rest moved up, spread out to do combo charges, presumably in due course. And that was it. That was all that happened this turn.
Yeah.
So
very exciting. It's you know.
It's all setting up for next turn where it's all going to go off. On that note, we'll do Dwarf turn 3. Dwarf turn 3. Alright, well, they managed to unfuck that cannon, but it couldn't shoot this turn. We charged the chariot that was there, so that cannon had nothing to shoot at. This cannon pulled their thumb out of their ass after the engineer helped them do it, and they managed to take a couple of wounds off of that giant over there. And then this thing rolled pretty damn high, but still only managed to take about, what, 1 wound off of that? No, 2 wounds off of that thing.
So you rolled really high. So
I rolled really high for a number of shots.
5 to 6.
Did okay to hit, and then rolled a bit.
Yeah.
No, I did okay.
You
I did okay. I can't complain. Yeah, I did alright.
You did okay.
And then this thing fired its steam gun at these guys and did nothing, which is, yeah, it's probably only got a 50-50 chance of killing one anyway. In the maneuver, we reconfigured these guys so they can take them and them to the face. These guys, I'm not quite sure how to use them at this point because they've got too many targets coming at them. So they're going to end up being rather ablative, unfortunately. We'll see how that works out. And then these guys moved up just to try and shape what happens next, but we'll see how that goes. I'm experimenting with some tactics that were suggested by a friend, and they might work, they might not, but we'll discuss that when we have our usual argument at the end.
Okay, we'll do that.
Right, we're in the thick of it now. It's the end of Orc and Goblin turn 3. Takes a bit of explaining what happened here. These guys charged into these guys. Now these guys also had to charge, but they didn't make it because they failed the impetuous. These guys wanted to charge anyway, and they both charged. They combo charged these iron breakers. This slot actually charged these iron breakers, and the giant didn't make it into the combat. In the combat, okay. So we started over here, and it was pretty hefty, and I realised I positioned myself really badly because there's only one circumstance under which I was not going to go off the table. Well, no, two. One was if I bashed up the orcs good enough that I won the combat, and the other was if I only fell back 2 inches and took enough casualties that I didn't overrun the edge of the table and falling back 2 inches. Fortunately, I used my Rune Lord in the challenge against Standard Bearer. I lost 2 wounds off the Rune Lord, and I took 1 wound off the Standard Bearer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was close. And the rest of his guys took out the rest of the front rank. So I had no hits back. So that was pretty shithouse, actually. On the other hand, because I can use Shield Wall, I only had to move back D6.
No, 2 inches.
So two inches instead of the up to 6 inches.
Don't run through your own troops if you hit them. You stop when you.
Yeah.
That's important because if you fall back in good order, it's like a flea. If you
And that
contact
would've
your
had
own
me-
troops, you would flee through them and end
Well,
up
I was
off
so
the table.
close to the edge of the table because I positioned that unit so fucking carelessly
Yeah.
that even moving 2 inches back would have had me off the table if I'd not taken some casualties. The unit's smaller. So that was close. I nearly buggered that up completely, but we just got away with it. What else happened? This lot had a go at these guys, and they killed 3. Actually, no, they killed 2 because the chariot killed 1 last turn. Goblins didn't kill anything. We killed a bunch of them. But the giant didn't do as much damage as we thought she might.
No.
Over here, they did no damage to this unit, who killed 3 of them in return, or 3 or 4.
Still you ran.
But we were so outnumbered that we buggered off, and I used shield.
No, you stubborn.
I used stubborn for them. We still got shield wall on that unit we could use later, so that they would fall back and get out of the bloody way, basically. So these guys could charge, or if this lot had actually followed, then we would have flank charged. As it is, yeah, we're in position now to fight back, but it's been a close run thing. I've got a few decisions I've got to make. Then we will get into Dwarf turn 4. It's a more interesting game this time. A bit of close quarter tactics.
You sitting at the back of the
As compared to me having no fucking idea what I'm doing with demons. And look, I like to play an aggressive game with dwarfs, but I haven't figured out how to do that successfully yet with Zami.
I'll bring a list sometime.
I'll show me how it's done. Yeah. Anyway.
Kind of aggressive anyway.
Anyway, we'll have a look at that later. As for now, over to dwarfs turn 4. End of dwarf turn 4. Right, some things happened. Over here, we charged them into those guys, killed 6. They rolled rather well on their morale, though, so they only fell back 2 inches. They actually rolled their leadership for what they needed, which is, they needed 4, because the leadership's 6, but then it goes up by 3 ranks to 9. So they needed a 4 because we killed quite a bit. So they're still there. That is the problem with charging goblin hordes, but it is satisfying to see them all falling off the back rank. Over here, we charged this unit, and I'm not sure if that was a great idea. I should have probably done something. No, I did it because if I hadn't done, I would have been vulnerable in the flanks to all sorts of shit, like being double charged by a giant and other things. So I went in. We didn't take any casualties. We killed a couple of guys, but because this unit's only really a support unit, we were pushed back by the massive ranks. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Because the giant can now charge this unit in the flank, which is not great. But then when we fell back, we kind of stymied this unit. We're not in a good position. I charged the gyrocopter into the back of the boars, and then I rolled well, and Sean rolled crap.
No, you rolled okay. You rolled.
Well,
I didn't get enough hits on your guy to kill your Rune Lord at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And I did get quite a few wounds on your boar boys.
Yeah, you killed 2. You only killed 2 boar boys.
Okay.
Out of 6.
But the important thing is that my runesmith got the standard bearer, and then it had all the ranks and everything.
Yeah.
So we got him, and then the gyrocopter chased him down. These guys didn't chase down anything. We just used the pursuit move to get the fuck away from the table edge. As for the gunnery, that guy didn't have a line of sight. That guy overshot. This guy, undershot, I think. Or did something silly. And this thing, I think, took a wound off. But he had a... I actually used my engineer to give him a reroll because I didn't roll that high. So naturally I rolled up a fucking misfire. Changed it in my 2 for a misfire. So that didn't work very well. So that thing is still alive.
Well, 1 wound.
With 1 wound. And it's in a position to do horrible, horrible things to me.
Yay!
So Goblins turn 4 is going to get a bit sporty. This one could go either way.
No, it's going to win. You're going to lose.
Well, you would say that.
Yes, I would.
Well, there's a lot of things that can go wrong at this point, but fuck it.
I'm just going to...
We'll check in at the end of Orc turn 4, I think it is.
Yeah.
End of Orcs and Goblins turn 4, and I was expecting to lose an organ gun. Instead, I lost an entire fucking unit complete with standard bearer. Mm-hmm. That was unfortunate. A bunch of things happened. Let me talk you through it. The easy bit was these guys kept fighting them, killed a few, moved up. This thing couldn't get a good charge on the iron breakers, so it went for the organ gun, but it rolled low to charge, so it's sitting out there ready to get shot again. The iron breakers rolled shit on their morale and fucked off and were run down. Now, this thing charged my unit of warriors that had the standard bearer in it, and they failed.
Terror test.
Yeah, they failed the terrorists, rolled like an 11 or something, and then they rolled 10 to flee, and they fell off the table. Mm-hmm. So that was remarkable. Just one charge, and I just lost like about a quarter of my army. That was very annoying. Which meant, of course, that the iron breakers couldn't re-roll their morale when they lost. And then this giant redirected its charge into the other unit of infantry. So they copped the giant's attacks as well as the big uns' attacks.
Yeah, outnumbered you 2 to 1.
Yep. Well, he certainly did after combat. The thing is, because I'd lost so many from the giant, and I didn't have a standard bearer, there was no way of sticking around. So that giant's charge and redirected charge took out 2 units, and one of those characters was going to die anyway because I rolled shit for my character in the runesmith. The runesmith was killed by a champion who rolled well.
Yes. Well, he rolled first.
He rolled first, and
he did 2 wounds.
And he rolled up a storm. Yeah, and I didn't make any of my saves. I had 4 goes at making saves, needing 5s, and none of them succeeded. So that was spectacular. I just lost about half of my army to what is effectively one failed.
A girl with a rolling pin.
Yeah,
and bad shoes taste.
That effectively is responsible for smashing half of my army.
Yeah, because she showed what's under her dress.
Yeah, well, they got one smell of her Ugg boots. Oh man. I was doing all right until all that happened.
But I think the lesson here is, if I may say, is don't deploy so far back. Advance forward.
Well, it didn't make a difference because dwarfs run so little a distance that they'll just get overrun anyway. I mean, the unit that did run off the table ran 10 fucking inches to get there. 10 or 11 inches to get there. Yeah. So, I mean, look, there is a lesson. It's weird because the lesson I got away with about not deploying too close to the back of the table, I actually got away with that. By some fucking miracle, they didn't go off, even when they perhaps should have.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, yeah.
Yeah, but the units that this maternal-like figure chased off, probably, I mean, one of them shouldn't have gone off, and the other one didn't get off. It got run down way before it got anywhere near the edge of the table. So that rather sucked. So again, I'm going to have to try and pull a tie out of what is otherwise a complete fucking debacle at this point.
Yes.
And on that note, on to Dwarfs turn 5. Right, end of Dwarf turn 5, and it's been another turn of the dice really kind of fuck me 6 ways from Sunday. I was having such a good game.
No, you weren't.
No, I was before last turn. Alright, so what happened is that we fired all 3 cannon at that one goddamn giant, and even the ones that hit rolled 1s. That necessitated me using and I even had to use the engineer to fucking get one of them things to hit. That meant I had to use the organ game to polish off its last wound. That means that thing has withstood something like... Oh, I don't know how many cannon shots. Probably about...
It's taken about 6 cannon shots, and I think you've rolled
That's just in 2 turns.
Yeah, you've just rolled so many ones.
Yeah, no, that's right. I've hit it 6 times with cannon and organ gun fire, and I've just poured an obscene amount of fire into that fucking thing. And even when I've hit it and not misfired my cannons, I've just rolled 1s to wound. It was, in fact, my cannons did more to the unit of goblins behind him by accidentally polishing off one of them than they did the actual giant. Which is a shit, because I was hoping to smash some wounds off the other fucking giant.
Well, that was not happening.
That didn't happen. No, it's not going to. She'll get into the line in just a moment. We kept pushing them back, but they won't flee. And we caused a panic test on these guys, but they passed. Not catching a break here.
No.
But we still got a bit of time left, so we'll check in at the end of Orcs Goblins turn 5. Alright, end of Goblins turn 5. Well, these guys couldn't find anything to charge, and just as Sean was complaining about that, I reminded him that's because he's fucking killed everything already.
He ran away.
These guys and this giant charged the organ gun. They didn't make it. The giant did, smashed them all as you'd expect, and overran into the next cannon, which is annoying because that makes it very hard for me to shoot the damn thing with my cannon. Over here, this lot did what they always do and kept smashing him and pushing him back, but Sean just doesn't fucking fail his leadership tests, unfortunately.
Well, I do, but I'm rolling really low.
Actually, we should probably check that, because I think you may have actually...
If I roll 6 or less, they just fall back and go away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Alright, so that... So yeah, they're sticking around, the damn things. So it's over to the Dwarf turn 6, and I need to kill some things a bit more conclusively than what I'm doing. I'll have a go, but let's face it, I've it's not been my happiest occasion.
No, it hasn't. Christ.
Right, end of Dwarf turn 6. What happened? Well, these guys, as you might expect, they won the combat. They finally chased these fuckers off, but then, of course, we didn't catch them. They rolled really high, we rolled really low. The giant smashed the war machine that she was fighting. That was entirely predictable, and then decided to reform. She'll presumably charge one of these next turn.
Yes.
The gyrocopter charged into this lot, won the combat. That was alright. But then they rolled adequately well on their morale. Yeah, it was a bit of an uphill battle to try and get them to fuck off, but so anything's worth a try at this point. And then, just for shits and giggles, I fired a cannon out of sequence because Sean kindly let me do it, just to kill some of these for fun. And naturally, I blew up my own goddamn cannon.
Sorry.
What a god! There's very little working tonight.
Oh, Jesus.
On that note, into Orc and Goblin turn 6.
Oh, Jesus.
Alright, Orc and Goblin turn 6. And you can pretty much imagine what will have happened. So this thing charged the Iron Breakers and did a fair bit of damage. They didn't do anything back. And then they rolled 10, which is above their base leadership anyway, so they routed. The gyrocopter did a little bit of damage, but ended up falling back just because of the massive numbers. That was annoying. And of course, these guys over here rallied, so I don't even get their points.
I think you get
bashing them all day.
25% because of below 50.
Oh, well, no, don't humour me. So, all told, it's been a bit of a rollicking clusterfuck. And probably about 50% of the outcome can be attributed to one terror test that I failed. And we're looking at this earlier, and the Army Standard Bearer doesn't give you a reroll for terror tests. It only gives you a reroll for what? Panic, break tests. What was the other one?
Panic, rally, and
rally and
break tests.
And break tests, yeah. So Miss Fluffy Boots here is responsible for cracking the entire fucking line and chasing off about 50 dwarfs.
Oh, well, that's what the
Including-
sloppy boot's there for.
Including at least one character. The other one succumbed to a champion, because a champion took out a fucking rune lord. I mean, he had help from the standard bearer originally.
Can I roll
but
an
still.
Eye of the Gods?
Yes, it's like that.
Ooh, 4.
And these guys, after smashing these guys, turn after turn after turn, the only leadership test they failed got them further away from my guys, so I couldn't kill what was left in melee, and then they fucking rallied. Oh my god.
6.
Yeah, and my cannons, wow, that was, I mean, I rolled a lot of 1s to wound, that was a large part of the problem. Even when I wasn't misfiring all over the place, because you pretty much, when you got 4 cannon, you're going to misfire, even when you got a reroll, you're going to misfire probably once every 2 turns. I probably rolled slightly worse than that, but not much.
No,
But
you rolled a lot worse than that.
But the 1s to wound, when I did hit the fucking giants, that cost me an awful lot, because that's fire that should have gone into this other giant or something else.
I agree.
What have we learned?
Don't deploy your dwarves at the back of the board. Personally, I think being aggressive and having a bit more of a being aggressive, and that's just how I play. I mean, that's how I play. I like the anvil.
Well, it's certainly how I used to play back in 8th edition. I haven't quite figured out how to make it work against your armies in this edition.
Yeah, you had a shit day today. To be the understatement of the century.
Yes, it was one of those days. I mean, look, we all bitch about our dice from time to time. I certainly do. I sometimes whinge about the other guy's dice. The last game of Team Yankee against Andrew, I was whinging about his dice.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because they really let him down quite badly. Yeah, I thought I was doing reasonably decent. I had one fuck up on the left flank. Then I thought I was doing reasonably decent tactics after that, but then it all turned to shit. Just every fucking thing that could go wrong did.
Yes. And my tactics are quite simple. March up, engage at the enemy. It's very simple, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, I had this thing that I was trying to do. I was trying to use the iron breakers in units of 10 without any command in order to soak up initial charges and redirect, because they got shield wall and stubborn.
Yes.
I thought, well, I'll give that a go. Andrew suggested it.
Well, why are you going to punch Andrew in the face now?
You think it's a bad tactic?
I don't know. How did the battle go?
Well, this is the thing, right? Because when you're rolling 11 for your leadership, how do you know whether it was a good tactic or not? You basically got fucked up the arse by the dice.
I'll go and punch him in the face anyway.
Well, good luck. I mean, it's...
I don't know. It's not a bad tactic. I can't fault anything. You can't really fault anything. In the end, hindsight's 50, it was 2020. You don't know how it's going to work out. You'd have to try this a couple of times. If you play this game, this battle again, it would be completely different, I suspect.
Well, if my cannon worked, it'd be a thoroughly different game.
Well,
I don't know why, but every time I play with dwarfs, my cannon just fuck up all over the place. It's always a debacle when I use cannon against you.
Against me? Yes. Other people? I don't know.
Oh, they've worked in other games.
Other games, okay.
It doesn't matter of the edition either. In 8th edition, whenever I use this cannon against you, it was a debacle.
This has been spectacular. On a scale of 1 to 10, this has been a spectacular fail for your cannons.
Yeah, I mean the standard bearer led the rout. That's a good start. The cannon did more damage to themselves than they did to anyone else.
Yes, you got the boar boys, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they were a bit fragile, and I wasn't too sure what was going to happen, but yeah, you did get me there.
Yeah, so that unit worked properly. Even the fallback, I got lucky because I was too far back, and it wouldn't have cost me anything at all to have moved up closer because I knew I was going to be taking that charge. I was just being sloppy when I should have been paying attention.
But I made mistakes. I should have opened up my. See again, this is maneuvering my main unit up to get into engagement. But I thought I wasn't expecting you to run away so conveniently from me.
Yeah.
So I was positioning to take on that main unit, and that would have been the main.
So I was trying to prevent you from getting a combo charge of the gobos and your giant by having the gobos go after the iron breakers.
Yes.
But I didn't expect the Iron Breakers to fuck off when they did.
Yes.
And the lack of a standard bearer is part of what allowed that to happen.
Standard bearer musician. So it's this game comes down. Okay. So one of the reasons why they do okay is, again, you don't have a lot of attacks, so every point of combat resolution you can stack onto a unit can get you to win a game. Can get you to win.
Yep.
So
that's why I put a character in every unit, full command.
not a character in every unit. That's probably overboard, because then you have no points for any rest of your army, and you have a small army, and then they can have issues.
I found in pre-8th edition, I needed a character in every unit because I'd get charged usually,
Okay.
and then I'd have nothing that could hit back.
Okay. That's 8th edition. This edition's again.
Everything before 8th, like 4th through to 7th edition.
Yeah.
The only way the Orc units ever managed to get any hits on anything was if they took a character. Because I'd usually have high elves coming in with a clusterfuck of attacks and
and rerolls to hit.
yeah, all the shit, and they wipe out the first rank.
Yes.
8th edition was a blessing because I could always hit the fuckers back.
Well, this is why. But this is back to 3rd edition, and like I set up, this reminds me of. Well, this is how 3rd edition worked. You only got the front rank unless you had spears. So combat resolution in this game is important.
Yep.
If you can, even goblins. I mean, look, 157 points for a bunch of guys that have good leadership, because the leadership. You should have issued a challenge and killed my unit champion, which
Really?
you didn't do.
Why not?
I don't know why didn't you?
So no, what does that help apart from getting rid of one attack?
+1.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Well, now you do. See, this is also knowing your enemy. Know your enemy, know your armies, and in 100 battles you'll be successful.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I've read that, but this is one of those things where there's so many armies to learn. I'm still learning them.
Yeah, like I said, issue a challenge. It's always usually a pretty good thing against the warband, against beastmen and stuff. Even Chaos Marauders have a higher. Their minute champions have a higher leadership. And that it's always worth killing the guys. That was hilarious. I killed one dwarf, or did I kill 2 dwarfs?
You killed 3 out of that unit in the 3 out of this unit in the entire game. But you know what? You passed a hell of a lot of leadership tests, and the only one that you failed is the one you needed to fail.
But I had 9. I had to roll 9 or less for a long time.
Yeah.
And then once you got me, then it started getting a bit serious after about a 3rd or 5th.
Well, that
round
tells
of
you
combat.
something about why dwarves need to have a character in the unit.
Well, you see, the latest GT, they had a guy, and he had very limited amount of characters, and he won. But he had a couple of stone throwers, a couple of organ guns.
Yeah, 2 organ guns is a winning combo.
And he had an anvil. Now, the anvil gives you movement.
Does it now?
Yeah, and that's very good. It also gives you magic. You become a level 3 wizard, so you can dispel a lot easier. And your range is 24 to dispel. So, but it's a lot of points.
So I don't take the anvil just because I don't like the idea of it.
I've used it before. I made the great. I've made the masters with the anvil. It works. This is before a long time ago when it was pretty shitty. Now it's actually half decent. For this.
Yeah. I mean, I play these games as much for the aesthetic as anything else, and I don't particularly like the anvil.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect it as an item of lore and all that shit. I'm not poo-pooing it, the look of it or anything like that. I just don't. It's not my style.
Yeah.
But then my style needs a bit of evolution to win a fucking game at the moment, anyway.
You're very unlucky this one. The last game you played a very tough army, and you were still learning your chaos, like a combat army versus that was not a good match.
Well, that was the first time I fielded that list.
This one I just.
Well, I lost my game with Wood Elves against Doug's Beastmen because I had no idea what the Beastmen do either.
They do lots of crazy things.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm getting my ass handed to me because I'm road testing armies I've not fielded in this edition before, and I'm going up against crazy stuff which does stuff I haven't seen before.
Yes.
But this game was, I knew what I was dealing with, and I did things on purpose, and then my fucking army ran away.
Your main army ran away. Yes, I would have liked to have seen what would happen with the main combat, because I mean I've taken the suboptimal list vaguely with a.
Well, you took a tar pit with a sledgehammer attached to it.
Yeah, I took a couple of goblin tar pits, which are good. Yeah, it's good to have those little units just to hold and to hold you off.
And they can provide a massive rank bonus when the giants go in. So it's actually a min-max good combination. It's not soft as long as you get your combo charges, and I was trying to break those up.
Yeah. Because if you get the giant in, you got the 3 ranks and stuff. All of a sudden, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And you're -1 to leadership test when you break versus a Terra Corsa.
Yeah. And so there was some things actually did work in terms of breaking up your attack. Unfortunately, some things. Some things you can't control.
I think 2 organ guns, 2 cannons, maybe a rock thrower, stone thrower.
Well, the plan is to get another organ gun. I just got to get off my ass and get another one. So 2 organ guns. To be honest with you, the cannons. I don't know. I don't really rate them in this version of the game.
Oh no, cannons are good because. No, I still think they're okay. They can do some stuff that bolt throws. They can just auto hit, like you saw. You just been incredibly unlucky tonight.
Oh yeah, rolling a little ones to win with shit.
Incredibly cursed tonight, sir. You've been.
Yeah. It was pretty wild, I have to say.
All right.
Anyway.
I'm gonna let you leave. I've got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, so do I. It's a school night.
And,
So, on that note, time to call it a night.